I want to start this video by apologizing to everyone who's watched the previous one. I know I disappointed the community, and I promise I will not be doing that again. But I think actions matter more than words. So to appease my OCD homies, I am finally painting the rim of the Summer Legend in black. Again, I'm truly sorry, and I'll do better in the future. Sorry for my bad acting, but again, I am actually disappointed that I didn't do that. With that out of the way, let's get into the third video of this series with the Lizardfolk Cleric. As usual, I removed the original primer, but unlike last time, I didn't bother to remove any of the mold lines. Since I had been working on a longer project before this, I was just kind of wanting to get to the painting part. So I primed a few minis at once to see how that would work. Unfortunately, because I did wash them beforehand, I didn't give enough time for them to dry. So there was still some water drops in some recesses, which then meant I had to finish priming with a brush. It's a lesson learned, and next time I'll definitely wait for the minis to dry fully. Before starting the actual paint job, I wanted to try something else, and that is making a copper plate for my wet palette. As you may know, copper has antimicrobial properties, which means it will prevent the wet palette from getting all gross and stinky. So I did quite a bit of research on this, and it was really important that the copper was 100% pure. Otherwise, you might end up with a rusty palette defeating the purpose. I found this copper tube, and it had the right dimensions that I was looking for. I have just a regular sized the Army Painter wet palette. The biggest issue though was that it was rolled, and I had to come up with a plan to make it straighter. So I took it to the hob, gave it a little heat. Obviously, if you want to try this, please be careful. Also, the changing color is nothing to be worried about if you do put the copper through some heat. If you have some suggestions for trying something like this, let me know. Have you tried something like this before? Did it work? Did it not? Let me know what you recommend. I also looked into getting copper tape, but my issue with that again was getting that 100% copper. So yeah, that's why I didn't get it in the end. At the moment, I've been using it and there's no issues whatsoever. I think it's working. There's no smell, no sting, nothing. So hopefully it should last for about a year, but I'll keep you posted with that. I'm also using my supplement tub as a holder again because it's just more comfortable than the Citadel one, and I don't know why, it just fits better in my hands. Alright, let's get into painting. Starting with dark green. I had to do a couple layers over the entire mini. It was quite a tedious process, to be honest. I do see the benefit of having an airbrush to do something like this, but I got through it, and once I got to a good opacity, I finally started adding some highlights. I knew I was going to use a very small brush, so I remembered something I had watched in a Ninjan video, where he uses some of this athlete's tape around the brush so it's more comfortable to hold. So that's another little thing for you to try if you are interested. It was really important for me to get the scales/skin right. I'm not into dry brushing or like slap chop at the moment, so I did go through every single scale, like doing many passes of highlights, and as you can imagine, it took me a couple hours to finish it up. After a couple hours of this, I needed to change things up. And what's better than a vibrant head ridge? I had to do something easier and more fun, starting with white as a base. As you can see, Remy was very interested as well. So the Army Painter Ivory White was definitely thicker and more opaque than I was expecting, although I could have potentially done an extra layer.
Remy!
I wanted to try a speed paint on top. I've never tried one before, so I got this Blood Moon Red from the John Blanche set. And yeah, I think it flows really well and it looks quite vibrant, which I wasn't expecting. Initially, I put it on the wet palette and soon changed my mind. Put it on a normal palette that I got in my local craft store. It was about 75p or like $1 US. And to finish up, I used yellow, definitely not trying to blend it with the red. I wanted to do my own version of it, and I do think it looks quite cool. Now onto the flames. I first cover them with Vallejo White, which also covers quite well, but it's slightly less opaque than the John Blanche paint. I then added Snake Green, which is an express color, so I held the mini upside down so the ends of the flames would get more saturated. I quite liked the hue, but in the end I wanted it to be more desaturated, but because I went back and forth between white and the green so much, I lost a lot of the initial smoothness. I added a bit of black to the green to add to the tips of the flames. And I really like this look. It just makes it look kind of smoky, and even if it's not very realistic, there's just something about it that gives the flames more character. Please be aware this is my first time painting flames, and I was trying to get them perfect, which didn't happen, but I definitely feel more confident now for when I get to do it again. Finally, I moved on to painting a base coat for the leather with dark rust. I think I always dread painting clothes and any small bits because I know I can easily mess up. I had a few visitors that wanted to give me a hand and wish me luck with this part of the process, so thank you, Alby. I really appreciate the support. I've been adding skin when painting leather since it gives it a glossier look. It doesn't really do much more than that in terms of saturation, but I like that it makes the leather texture more realistic. Now this might be controversial, but I wanted to try flat earth. And I think Remy isn't a flat earther, so he was being a bit of a nuisance and trying to steal some of the paintbrush plastic caps. He's a little thief, isn't he? Here I used colors that were a bit too bright since they were drawing too much attention to the groin area. So I did change this at a later stage. It was kind of nice to freehand leaves, and as I added more details I realized I really need to get a few brushes with super small tips so I can add more details on clothes and cloaks, whether it's stippling, freehanding, adding some scratches and whatnot. So that's something I'm thinking to do. Spend more money! Recently I got a few technical paints from Citadel to do bases, and my initial thought was to use this, but basically I wasn't happy with the result with this mini, so I just put some sand on top, a few grass tufts, and that looked way more natural. I gave the grass tufts a trim, which was very satisfying. The idea with this space is that the Lizardfolk is coming from a grassy area into more of a sandy and exposed area, ready for a fight. Maybe he was hiding in the vegetation and he's now ready to cast some spells at the enemy. Remy also wanted a trim, and let me tell you, he definitely needs one. So yeah, anyone want to come to Marsalon? Roll for trim! Let me know. Bookings are open.
I love that you're wearing peaches.
I tried to use Remy as a backdrop, but he kept moving. And this is about the time when I'm gonna rush through the last bits because it's just not that interesting. So yeah, I had a bit left to do. I added some silver on the sides and then some like rust paint because the silver was too bright. But most importantly, I added some highlights to the leather to make everything look less flat. And here is the result. So, what do you think of my Lizardfolk Cleric? I think this mini really pushed my skills to a different level. Even if I'm just a beginner, as long as I feel like I'm improving, I think that is a win. I'm also slowly realizing that miniature painting takes a very long time, and if I want to finish more minis, then maybe I just need to learn some hobby cheating techniques. So you may be seeing me trying some washes and dry brushes in the next few videos. But do you want to know what I'm painting next? Let's roll. I nearly rolled a d20, but no, it's an 8. And with that, I'm going to be painting a hobgoblin wizard next time. Give this video a like if you liked it, consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this, and let me know what you think in the comments of this series. I'm also gonna be posting some other stuff in the future. I've already filmed some of it. I'm in the process of filming more and editing and whatnot, and even though I can post that regularly, just know that there's some more stuff coming in the future. I'm Mars, this is Roll for Paint, and I'll see you in the next one.